Hello, gorgeous flower pots. It's the first Sunday of 2021. Happy New Year to you all. How are we all? Happy New Year. Where are you watching me from? Is anybody watching? Is anybody joining me? Give me a like, give me a love, give me a share. Let me know how you're doing. What are you cooking? It's the first Sunday roast of 2021. What will you be serving up today? Well, it's Sunday, as I said, and I'm here to service you all. So here in the UK, it's good afternoon from me. It is 12 noon, and I'm sat here at my kitchen table. And if you've been watching my stories on my Instagram, Antonella Uncensored, then yes, I am wearing a gorgeous, gorgeous feather sleeve jumper that's available in my collection at Ruby and Daisy. And massive saving of 20 quid I've done. So it was 35, but now you can get this little bad boy for 15 quid. And as I've said, you've seen me Instagram and you'll know that I'm wearing my pyjama bottoms and a pair of slippers with my beautiful feather sleeve jumper. So get on that there, Ruby and Daisy, and get it bagged because I have done it for £15 only. So how are we all? It is Sunday, it's 10:30, Bronwyn Harrison says in that there Australia at night time. Hello to you and Peter. Hello to Delia Alexander in Queensland, Australia. Afternoon, Nelly, says Sophie Cannon from Plymouth, Devon. So there's quite a few watching. When I actually advertised to do Sunday service, there were 7 people who said, I'll watch. I thought, well, that'll make 8 of us. But looking at these figures now, there's more than 8, isn't there? So what is Sunday service? If you're a new follower, people write into the page with some dilemmas. So the Dear Antonellis, they're all anonymous. And Sunday aren't really the problems we get on a Wednesday, because Wednesday nights is night time with Nelly. So Happy New Year to each and every one of you, wherever you may be watching me from. And hopefully this year there's going to be lots of reviews, lots more nighttime Nellies and lots more Sunday services. On Tuesday, I am going into hospital for my operation. It has not been cancelled as of yet. Not that I'm aware of. So I will be in hospital on Tuesday having my procedure. What am I having? I am having a myomectomy to remove my fibroids. I am having a hysteroscopy. I am having biopsies. And they are fitting a Mirena coil. So I'm hoping it will be the very end of my gynecological problems. So in a nutshell, what's Antonelli having done on Tuesday? I think she's having a fanny put back together. If they can make it that bit tighter, even better. Anyway, it's been a while since everyone's been in there, so let's hope they don't find anything that I forgot with her. So yes, it's Sunday service. Hello, Sharon Richards in Adelaide, Australia. Seems there's quite a 1 or 2 Australian followers. Let me know in the comments where you are watching me from. Yesterday, the day before, I weren't feeling so great. Do you ever have them days where you wake up and you just look at yourself in the mirror and you think, oh dear God. Oh dear God. So today I thought, let's make an effort. So I've done my eyebrows, shaved my tash, thrown a bit of slap on. And yes, I do ship worldwide. Just in case you're wanting to know about my range at Ruby and Daisy, I do ship worldwide. And I thought I'd showcase the feather sleeve jumper. Because we're not going anywhere still. We've not been anywhere, but I couldn't wait to wear it. So I thought, what a better time than get it on Sunday service and show them that you can actually make an effort. Unlike my Instagram stories. Anyway, it's Sunday, it's service. I'm here to service you. Let's stop chatting shit, shall we, Nelly? And let's get on with the show. So if you've got a dilemma and you want your Auntie Nelly's input, then please, please, please write into the page with either a Sunday service or a night time with Nelly. What I will say is that any advice I give on today's show, any advice, is purely for entertainment purposes. I'm not a sex therapist, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a general practitioner. I have no qualifications to give you advice, and should you want to use it, it is once again for entertainment purposes. Dear Antonelli, let's get going. I have had 2 affairs over 8 years. Oh, I've been married for 12 years and my husband keeps asking me why I had these affairs. He deserves an answer, but the truth is I don't actually have an answer for him. I don't know why I kept having affairs and I had no good reason to. We've been trying to work things out since my last affair ended last year, and I really do only want to be with my husband and only him. Our sex life has been really affected by the affairs. Surprise, surprise. He can't keep an erection for too long. He says he wants to have sex, but he sometimes can't help thinking about me and my past lovers. Please help fix my marriage, as I don't know how to. Thank you. I'm not fucking Jim will fix it. In fact, Tim did a fucking good job. We're not Jim will fix it. I can't fix your marriage. You've been married for 12 years, and out of those 8 years, you've had 2 affairs, and he hasn't got a reason for it. He's asking you, do you not think he deserves an actual explanation? And if you're not sure on what the explanation is as to why you can't remain faithful, do you not think maybe you could both do with maybe a little bit of counselling, maybe a little bit of therapy as a couple, as to see what were wrong in your marriage that you actually went looking for it elsewhere? Or was it a case of you one of those people that buries the head in the ground? I think it's absolutely wonderful that you're still together and he's willing to kind of forgive. But in order for him to forget or move on, he needs some kind of closure as to why you kept having these affairs. Maybe he needs an explanation to know if there was something wrong in your marriage, that maybe it won't happen again. Maybe he's got some guilt himself, thinking, if I could have done this, if I could have done that. But if you're not telling him, the man doesn't know, because he's not psychic. And once again, I'm not Jim will fix it, so I cannot fix your marriage. You have got to really look at your timeline. What was it that was happening that made you think it's going to help me by having affairs? What was it? What was it that did that? So look at your timeline, and if you really can't find a reason and you're just a person that likes the cake and fucking eat it, then admit it. Admit it and say, listen, the reason I don't have a reason for keep having affairs is because that's what I do. That's the kind of person I am. It doesn't mean to say I love you any less. And it's hardly surprising that you've got problems in the bedroom, because you know, he knows that somebody else has been with his wife on more than one occasion. So I do really think that a little bit of couples counselling could be the way forward. And if you can't get past that, then I doubt very much you're in the correct relationship for both of you. And I think rather trying to mend something that's completely broken, it may be a case of having to admit that it's not working, you're not supposed to be together, and having to walk away. But I think there's certainly several things that you've got to do yourself. Look at your timeline, see what it was, be honest about your feelings, open about what it was that was happening, and involve him in all the conversations. Don't have these communications on your own. Make sure that you keep communicating if you want to save your marriage. It sounds to me like you probably both do, maybe. But if this is how things are going to be and sex in the bedroom now is being affected, then, you know, are you going to go looking elsewhere because you're not getting your needs met in the bedroom? So I think it's really, really important that you're honest and you sit down sooner rather than later and try and find a way of trying to find the reason. And if there is no reason, just be honest. Just say there is no reason, it just happened. But then there's always a reason why something happens, okay? And don't be ashamed about it, because you should be ashamed enough in the fact that you've had 2 affairs in such a short time. And you should be quite grateful that he's not actually walked out on you, because many men would have done, as ladies would. So can I fix your marriage? No, but I think you need to start with a lot more communication between you both, and I think a little bit of couples counselling may help. Okay. Dear Auntie Nelly, I have been married since 2015. Congratulations. My husband and I are both very lucky. We have good jobs and a nice lifestyle. Since we married, things have gone downhill as there's been many issues. Oh heck. These are mainly around trusting my husband, which was justified as he was texting someone behind my back. Since then, I get annoyed with my husband's attitude to all things. In the last few months, a lot of what he does really gets on my nerves. And it's getting me down, such as how he eats, the time spent on his phone, and just things like that. I just don't think I'm happy anymore. What can I do? Okay, so everything was absolutely fine in your relationship. Nice marriage, nice jobs, nice lifestyle. But then there'd been many issues. You don't actually tell me what the many issues are, but you have focused on him texting people behind your back. You don't actually say what that is, but you're not happy with his attitude. So I think, once again, communication. I don't think if anybody has a relationship if there's no communication. So you have to communicate with him. You have to tell him that he's getting on your bastard nerves and tell him why. And say, look, I thought my world was absolutely beautiful. I thought that I had a white picket fence and everything was lovely. And then the film ended and we all went back to real life. Because that's not real life, is it? You're living with your husband and unfortunately he's give you a little bit of cause for concern, and now you're just sort of questioning everything that you had in your head, which is absolutely understandable. But you've got to communicate this to your husband and say, look, I went right off you. I went right off you when you started texting somebody else. You don't actually say what the texts were. I went right off you, and things you're doing now are getting on my fucking nerves. So I think we need to go back to basics. And I think sometimes a lot of couples need to press the reset button and reload the relationship. So I think it's about resetting what it was that you had, okay? And being honest with him and saying, look, I no longer trust you. If I don't trust you, I don't like you. If I don't trust you, I can't be in a relationship with you. So you might be trying to find other reasons to walk away from the relationship. You may be. That's absolutely fine and absolutely normal. But you have to be honest with yourself and think, can you actually proceed in a relationship with somebody who's actually not your trust? Because I trust everybody in life. I have no reason not to until they give me a reason not to. And then it's what you decide to do with that information. So I don't think it is the fact of how he's eating, how he's breathing, what he's doing. I think the trust has gone and you dislike him. Okay, how do you write into the page, Laurel? Right here in messages. Send me a message, sweetheart. So I think, really, that's what the problem is. It's not how he breathes, how he snores, how he walks, how he puts the shopping away. It's the fact that you don't trust him. And sometimes that's a really bitter pill to swallow, because if you can't trust your partner, who can you trust? And if you've no trust, you've no relationship. So I think you're just trying to find other ways that are making you more angry than actually facing up to what it was that made you angry in the first place. So communication, once again, you've got to have that communication with your partner. Sometimes it's nice communication, sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it can be put us in a vulnerable situation, but you've got to do it, because if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? And you're going to just end up resenting him even more and more, and your happy place where you live that's supposed to be your haven is going to be an awful place to be. So once again, I don't think it's your husband's attitude. I think it's what he did, his actions, that are maybe marring now what you're feeling about him. And it don't sound to me like you've discussed it properly. So get back to basics. Dear Auntie Nelly, have I opened up a can of worms? Oh heck. And it's all my fault. I asked my wife if she fancied swinging. Shall I carry on? This might be a nighttime and Ellie one, but anyway, I never thought she would do such a thing, but she told me to leave it to her. A couple of weeks later, my wife told me she had arranged for us to meet a couple in a hotel. This can't be recent, because we're not allowed, are we? We're not allowed to be going meeting folk unless you're in tier 1 or tier 2. I really thought she was just taking piss, so I went along with it. When we got to the hotel, we met the couple, we had dinner, and after some drinks, we went to their room. Woo! I don't need to tell you the rest. No, you don't, because it's Sunday. After this night, I have told her I was shocked, but I enjoyed it, but I don't want to continue swinging. But she says, well, I'm not stopping, and she's gone to several meets without me. My wife is in her 40s and very young looking for her age. I'm in my 40s. I'm 47 this year. I don't know whether to turn 47 though or go back to 46, because I think everyone's birthdays last year were a bit of a write-off. Oh, fuck it, I'll be 47. Age is a privilege denied to many, so... Okay, so she's very young looking. Most people guess she's in her 30s, and I am a bit younger. I am sorry this letter is so long, but please can you help me? I am sorry for what I have done and just want to get my life back to normal before it was. Hey, once again, a little quote's come in my head. Be very fucking careful what you wish for. So you wanted to actually do a bit of swinging with your wife, and she's gone, oh, go on, let me sort it. She's sorted it, and you've actually gone to this hotel, and there's been a couple there, and she's actually pulled off what you wanted. So once again, be very careful what you wish for, because you had a lovely wife, a lovely marriage, and you just wanted to spice it up a bit, and now she's gone, well, if you want to stop swinging, that's fine, Flower, but I don't. So she's carrying on. Now, I don't know what you actually communicated in this swinging deal. What boundaries did you have in place? Was it a case of we go swinging together or we don't go swinging at all? And, have you actually communicated what happened? Or has it been a case of you went swinging, you don't want to do it anymore, but she's gone, that's fine, off I go on doing my swinging. What have you communicated here? You've communicated a lot to me in your message. That's why it's so long, and I've cut quite a bit out, because it's Sunday and not Wednesday. But have you actually communicated this with your lovely wife? Couldn't really give a fuck how young she looks and how old she is and how old you are, as long as it's all legal and consensual and you're of age. Couldn't really give a fuck about that. What I give a fuck about is when we are introducing new people into our relationships, whether it be a third person, an open marriage, whatever it is, we have to have boundaries. We have to know what's acceptable and what's not. Now, you're obviously not feeling comfortable with what your wife is doing. So you need to tell her that that wasn't what you envisaged. But sometimes, if we don't communicate to our partners what we envisage, then they don't really think what you're thinking, therefore they don't think anything's wrong. So once again, what is the key of today's Sunday service? Communication. People no longer communicate, they no longer speak. And it's such an important thing to do, to actually say, right, we're going to go on swing, and you thought she were having you on, and she weren't, and she actually came up with her side of the deal. So after, rather than saying, right, enjoyed that, I'm shocked you did that, but I don't want to do it again, ask her how she felt. How did she feel? Did she enjoy it? Obviously, yeah, because she now wants to proceed with it. Obviously. So what is exactly going on here? What are you going to do? Are you going to sit in on a Friday night and get a takeaway while she's out being fucking banded Travel Lodge? What is going to go on from here? Because if you don't ask her, you're never going to know. And no, I'm sorry to be brutal, but things will never go back to the way they were. Never. Not ever now, because of what you've done. Because you've allowed this fantasy to become a reality. And when we invite other people within our intimate marriage, we've kind of fucked it, haven't we? Because it's not really what we wanted. It looks good on porn, doesn't it? And it's nice in a film. And you might read it in a magazine or a book and think it's exciting and get a bit of a twitch in your trousers. But actually, in real life, it's not that sexy now, is it? No. So once again, be very careful what you wish for. And once again, fucking communicate with your wife. What kind of people is she meeting up with? What's she actually bringing home? Is she being tested regularly for these things? You know what I mean? Is she fucking being rolled bareback? Is she using protection? What is happening here now? Are you seeing it as your wife's actually cheating on you when you've actually allowed this to happen? So this isn't really a Dear Antonelli. This is a massive fucking can of worms you've opened. I absolutely agree with you. But the only person you can be speaking to about this is your wife. That's the end of it. Is your wife. Get to the bottom of it. What's going on? If you don't want to live with somebody who's happily now into swinging because you've introduced it, then it might be time to call it a day. She might not think you've got a problem with it because it's something you wanted to do. So there's 110 questions you need to be asking, but you need to be asking your wife. And once again, be very careful what you wish for. And I do have this thing where I think fantasy is always usually 95% better than reality. I'm having Barocca. And I will say as well, I had beetroot yesterday. So I nearly phoned Priest last night for my last rites, but then I remembered I'd had beetroot. And then after, when I'm glowing, luminous green, I'll remember that I've had Barocca. So, oh Jesus Christ, this is a fucking long one. Are we ready? I fucking hate War and Peace. Dear Auntie Nelly, my boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years. I love and adore him, but I'm not happy because his parents don't like me. Oh, we are very different people. He was brought up with adorable, kind, loving parents, and I was pushed from care home to care home. I've tried to make friends with his parents, but I just don't feel like they think I am good enough for them or good enough for their son. His mum only speaks to me if she really needs to. I always dreamed of being in a relationship with someone and their parents taking me on as their own. Oh, fucking hell. I dreamed of coffee dates with his mum, girly afternoons. I suggested it, but she says she's busy. I thought they would be delighted having a ready-made daughter as they have only got one son. My boyfriend said they do like me, but that's just how they are. But I'm sure if I wasn't a kid out of care, things would be different. My problem is, I guess, I crave in-laws who want me, which makes me question if I should continue in this relationship. Please help. Oh, sweetheart. It's not about the relationships you get into, is it? It's not about craving in-laws. It's not about finding a partner who's got a mum and dad who are going to take on the role as parents for you. It's about you actually coming to terms with the fact that you've felt nothing but rejection. You've been pushed from care home to care home, and that must have been so fucking tough for you growing up. I don't know what your relationship was like with your parents. I don't know whether you're in contact with them. I don't know why you were in care. But what I will say is, it's obviously give you this sort of fantasy lifestyle that you think that if you meet a boy, his mum and dad are going to love you and you're going to have this ready-made family because you may have read it in magazines, you may have seen it on television, you've made it up as a fucking blockbuster Hollywood movie in your head. Life isn't like that, darling. You can have had the best mum and dad in the world, meet a lad and his mum and dad could fucking hate you anyway. You know, some people, we can't mould them to what we expect them to be, but I do feel that you've got a lot of problems from being rejected, and I think you need to work on yourself. Maybe see your doctor, maybe get a therapist and work on that rejection. You can't crave love that you've never had from strangers. You can't do that. You've got a gorgeous boyfriend, you're in a lovely relationship, and that should be enough. You can't expect them to love you because your parents didn't. And I know that sounds harsh, and maybe they are quite cold people. Maybe when she says she don't want to have coffee with you, maybe she is really busy. Don't look at that as an extra rejection. Because you've been rejected in life, everything that's going to happen in your life now, when somebody says no, it's an extra rejection. This is a real world we live in, and no matter what kind of upbringing we've had and what kind of family we've got, we all go through rejections. We all do. Sounds to me like you're a lovely girl, but maybe you're a bit over the top because you're craving that love and affection. Maybe his mum doesn't want to spend that much time with you unless she knows it's serious. Maybe he's had quite a few girlfriends and she's thought, I'm not getting close to this one because the last one I got close to, she's no longer around. There's 100 million reasons why you're not having this one-on-one relationship with his mum. But also, we shouldn't be thinking these are bad people just because they can't give you the love and fill your cup up that you're so craving. So I think definitely this is so sad, but you've got to go and get some therapy about the rejection that you had. Okay, and we get love from all kinds of people in our life. You may not be able to have coffee with your mum, but I'm sure you've got friends you can have pamper afternoons with and go for coffee with. Not everybody is blessed to have a mum. Not everybody's blessed to have a nice in-law that they want to spend time with. You know, so enjoy your relationship for what it is. Absolutely, but not for anything else. And if people fall in love with you for you and want to spend time with you, that's a privilege and a pleasure. And if they don't, you crack on doing what you're doing. That's their loss, not yours. That's their problems, not yours. But you're making all this about the rejection that you've had. So I think you need to work on that. Otherwise, this is going to move on in every single relationship you're ever going to have, regardless of it, whether it be a partner, in-laws, a girl in the office that's brought cake in and didn't give you a slice, someone's having a party Friday night and you weren't invited. You know, there's lots of things here that we really, really do need to work on, and the work needs to start with you first. So I hope that's answered that. And it is ever so sad that, you know, we do think that when we get a partner and you'll have a mum and you'll have a dad and you'll have a new mum and dad, and you know, you can call them mum, you can call them dad, whatever it may be. But that's not real life. Life doesn't always work out the way we think in our head. And that is, you know, we have to accept that in order to move on. Okay. And I get quite a lot of Dear Auntie Nellies of girls telling me how much they fucking hate the mother-in-laws. So, you know, think yourself lucky that even though she doesn't want to spend a lot of time with you, at least you're not writing in telling me she's an absolute battle axe. Could be a lot different. So, yeah, so bless you. I really do hope that you get that sorted, you know, and you can't expect everyone to see you as a ready-made daughter. Life doesn't work like that. Dear Auntie Nelly, I am writing to you because I am worried about my best friend. Oh, heck. Another war and fucking peace here. My best friend is 24. She got in a relationship with a man at 29. When they got together, my best friend had just started moving into her own flat. The relationship grew really fast and he ended up moving in. My best friend suffers with depression, anxiety and low self-esteem. She will not seek professional help as she feels she can manage it herself. Her boyfriend is unemployed and not even getting any benefits as he will not, so he can't have a UK bank account. Blah, blah, fucking blah, 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 blah. I see that him spending her money is putting a strain on her, but I'm not allowed to see her because of lockdown. I was just wondering what kind of advice you'd be able to give me, as when I talk to my best friend, she makes excuses about after excuses, and I just need her to seek professional help. Thank you so much for taking time to read this. Woo! Anonymous. Jesus, War and Peace Sunday. So let's just go back here. My best friend is 24. She is an adult. She's an adult human being and she's allowed to make her own decisions. Now, as a best friend, as a friend, you always look out your friends, you support each other in good times and bad times. And sometimes we do see red flags that our friends don't see because they're all dreamy-eyed and they've got love lights in their eyes. But she's decided to go into a relationship with a man. She's decided to actually move him in. Whether he pays towards the bills, he's on benefits, he's got a bank account, what the fuck has any of this got to do with you? Oh, it hasn't. So all we can ever do to our friends is say, I'm a little bit worried about you, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Well, just know that if you're not, if there's any problems, I'm here for you because I'm your best friend. And that's all you can ever do. That is all you can ever... Is there a troll on? Sorry, is there a little troll on? Bear with me 1 second. The troll's gone. All right? The troll has gone. That's all we can do. You cannot tell her what to do in her life, how to live her life, what she should be doing, what she shouldn't be doing. You can't do that. We can't do that. She's a 24-year-old woman. She lives on her own with a partner. Whatever the fuck she decides to do with benefits, bank accounts, that's up to her. I know you're worried about her because you said, oh, she's got a bit of anxiety, a bit of depression, she's got low self-esteem. She's the one who has to make the decision that she's not well, can't manage it, her coping strategies are not working, and get the help. If you feel she's in some kind of danger to herself or to others, then of course, ring the authorities. Absolutely, that's what they're there for. You can always ring Adult Social Services and tell them and see if they'll do a welfare check on her. But as for who she's got living in a house, what relationship she's in, it's fuck all to do with anybody else. Can I just say, my little girl is watching in that Tier 4 London. Hello, Olivia. I love you so much, my little sweetheart. So, everybody, my daughter is watching. She doesn't often watch me live, but she's watching. So, that's really, really, really made me very happy that my Olivia is watching. And if she is watching me, Heartly Blue will be listening to these awful dulcet tones. So yeah, so when we are a 24-year-old woman, where is your top from, please? It's from my shop, Ruby and Daisy. Go and have a look because it's only 15 quid now. It was 35. If you go on Ruby and Daisy, it's called the feather sleeve jumper. And even though I'm wearing my pyjama bottoms and slippers, I thought I'd throw my feather sleeve jumper on. Why not? Sunday, get a bit glammed up. So anyway, so as worried as you are for your best friend, you cannot, under any circumstances, predict or dictate their life. Okay, you can't. If you're worried about anybody, please contact the authorities. That's up to them to do a welfare check. Absolutely. But you can't actually sit there anxious or mulling over what it is that you're worried about, because she could be behind closed doors with her new love, really happy. And you're just presuming because you haven't seen her because of lockdown. So there we go. So sometimes our friends do get themselves in situations that we're not happy with. Sometimes people live certain lifestyles that we wouldn't, but we have to accept that. We have to accept that, and we have to move on. We have to let people live their life for them. I wouldn't want a partner living with me and being on benefits and not having a bank account or paying any of the bills. That's not for me, but that doesn't mean to say that that's not right for somebody else. So, you know, sometimes we've got to be very careful on impinging too much on people's privacy, even if it is your best friend. Okay, so I hope that answers that. Christ on a bike, I mean, I can't believe all these fucking War and Pieces today. Dear Auntie Nelly, I am 29 and my boyfriend is 33. We've been together for 6 years and have a great relationship. The problem is I have just found out I am pregnant and it wasn't planned, so I haven't announced it. Nobody knows but me and you. And now everybody else watching, congratulations. Oh, fuck. Oh, here we go. The thing is, it's because it might not be his. I foolishly had a one-night stand after an argument. I went and met a guy in a bar, and well, you know the rest. I don't even know the guy's details, and we did it in a back street. I then went home, apologised to my boyfriend, and everything has been brilliant since. What do I do? How will I know if my baby is my partner's, or should I get a termination just in case? My partner has bright red hair. So that would be the only way I would know. But I think it's too late to wait 9 months just in case. Oh dear God in heaven. So this young child had an argument with boyfriend, went out to a bar, met a lad, fucked him in backstreet, and now she's pregnant. And she don't know if it's boyfriend's or if it's this lad she's met in a bar. And even if it is this lad she met in a bar, she don't even know who he is. She don't even know she could be pregnant with backstreet baby. I mean, I'm having to do my own hair at the moment, and I'm thinking, should I go for a fucking backstreet blowy? But blow dry, I'm thinking, not that kind of backstreet blowy. But right, okay, and even if he has got bright red luminous hair, doesn't mean to say baby's going to be born with red hair. My mum had blonde hair and my dad had black hair, and I was born with red hair. It doesn't mean fucking nothing. It doesn't mean to say my mum slept with your partner. What I think here is, it's about finding out, firstly, you're expecting, and that's fantastic, congratulations. Finding out, do you want this baby? And this decision is only yours to make. Nobody else can make this decision for you. You can't make a decision on having a baby to save your relationship. You can't make a decision on having a baby because it's the right or wrong thing to do, or me Auntie Sandra be right happy because she's been expecting me to get pregnant, whatever it may be. There's only you can make this decision. So the first thing you need to think is, do I want this baby? Because you wasn't planning to become pregnant. So do you want this baby now? Number one. Number two, if you decide that you want the baby, there are parental tests you can take whilst you're expecting. But that would mean being very honest with your partner and telling your partner, I need a parental test because, you know, that night that we had an argument, and you don't have to tell him that you were fucked up a back alley and that, you know, you don't have to tell him that. You don't, you just have to say, we had an argument, I went out, I had a few too many drinks, I ended up sleeping with somebody, and hey presto, here I am, I'm pregnant, and I don't know if it's yours. I want to keep this baby. Do you want to know if it's your baby? I'm happy to do that, and if it's not, and you want to walk away, that's fine, because I have decided that I want the baby. So that's ultimately, firstly, what you need to be doing. You need to have a conversation with yourself. Are you ready to be a parent? Because when we decide we're going to be a parent, we are a parent then for the rest of our lives. My beautiful daughter will be 26 in October, and it doesn't stop. It really doesn't. You are a parent forever. So ask yourself the question, because you weren't planning it. Are you ready to be a parent? Yes, I am. Fantastic, that's fine. And if you think, no, I'm not, and you get a termination, then that's also another decision that you make for you, not for anybody else, for you. It's your body, it's your decision, okay? But if we decide we're keeping the back alley baby, you've got to tell your partner. You've got to tell your partner why you want a paternity test. Absolutely. You've got to, because otherwise he'll wonder why he's got to have a paternity test. If you're pregnant, you'll think, well, of course it's mine. Well, absolutely not. And then there's another thing that I might want to throw in the mix here. You could just have the baby and not say nothing. But the fact that you've wrote into your dear Auntie Nelly means to me that you've got a bit of a conscience. And because you've got a bit of a conscience, I don't think for one moment this will be able to be something that you'll be able to hold as a secret for the rest of your life. So I think the decision is, do you want to have the baby? And then tell your partner. If you don't want to have the baby, you know, that's entirely up to you. There's no judgment here at all. And then you proceed in your relationship and you try and put right in your relationship what it is that made you fall into the arms of another man. Because it will have been a little bit more than just that argument, okay? Absolutely, that doesn't just happen. There will have been a little bit more that fella up that back street were giving you that you weren't getting at home. Okay, so that's the answer to this problem. God bless you. I would hate to be in your shoes, but do you want to be a mum? Do you want to be a mum? And if you do, tell your partner. That's it. And if you don't want to be a mum, then you know what you've got to do, but you've still got to work on your relationship. I personally don't think that you should have a baby and not know the parentage. I just don't think that's something I could live with or sleep with every night, knowing than not knowing. I think it would absolutely eat me up inside. Oh, thank you, Dawn Lister. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. So I personally don't think that I could. Hundreds of thousands of people out there have done that, haven't they? But my mum is a very, very wise woman. And I always remember what my mum told me once, many years ago. I was in my teenage years. And my mum once said about something. She was talking about somebody had been found out something. And she said, well, it doesn't matter because everything always comes out in the wash. And do you know what? It always does. No matter what it is that you've done behind closed doors, in secret, what deceit you've caused, might not be today, it might not be next week, it might not be in 5 years, but everything will always come out in the fucking wash. End of story. Absolutely. So there you go. Have a little sit down and have a think. Are you ready? Are you fucking ready to be a parent? Because believe me, it is forever. You don't throw them out at 16 and then that's it. Oh no, doesn't work like that. Dear Auntie Nelly, I am a 26-year-old female and I have had to give up work to care for my mother. I used to work full-time and live alone. My social life was fantastic, but it all stopped when I moved back in with Mum. Mum has cancer. I help her into her wheelchair and her stair lift and I do my best to help around the house. I run all errands and make sure she has all she needs, but some days I just feel like, oh, excuse me, I just did a burp. A Barack burp. Why me? But I know why me, as I am an only child. I try not to get upset when I feel very low, but sometimes I just can't help it, which just upsets my mum. I feel like the shittiest daughter. I no longer see my friends and feel so lonely. Please help. Aww. So this girl, only child, mum's got cancer. She's had to move in with mum to be a carer. So she's no longer going to work. She's no longer seeing her friends, her social circle, and she's feeling quite lonely. And I'm guessing that life as a carer I'm guessing it is quite a lonely life because you've sort of like not got your own identity. Your life revolves around that person who needs your constant care. But there are many places out there that will give you respite care. Have you spoke to social services? Have you got other nurses coming in? Have you got district nurses coming in helping? What is the what do the oncologists say when you're going to get her like evaluated or follow-ups for a cancer? What are they saying? Because at the end of the day, you need care as well, because we can never ever look after anybody if we're running on empty. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So I want you to look at your local councils as to what they've got for carers in your area and take everything they're offering with two hands. Having an afternoon out, getting a bit of respite care for your mum, having somebody come in other than you, is not meaning you're a shit daughter. Feeling like you feel is absolutely normal. It's absolutely fine. Your feelings are validated. But the more you start feeling like this, like your life's on hold, like you haven't really got a life anymore, you're going to start resenting what you're actually doing. And I don't know whether mum's terminal or not, but believe me, this time that you've got with your mum, it's so precious. It's so precious. So I don't want you sat with your mum caring for her being upset. You need to be absolutely tip-top condition. So that might mean meeting people in your area who are in similar situation than you, having a coffee with them, doing something a little bit different that day in order for you to just refresh and recharge and being able to go home then and being a carer again. Because being a carer 24/7 is a fucking really hard job. Now, my daughter was a young carer for me when I was poorly. I had my stroke when I was 37 and Olivia was only young. I'm not Carol Vorderman. And she was my young carer. And the feeling I had of guilt. So I'm sure you're feeling like you're feeling, but I'm sure mum's feeling it as well. So it's about communicating with each other and about getting extra help in. And you may want to do it all for mum. Absolutely, you're a lonely daughter. But sometimes we've got to say we can't do all this on our own. I looked after my dad when my dad was poorly until the minute that I could no longer do it. And it's so hard and it absolutely drains you. But believe me, there are so many people out there in your situation that I'm sure you could all support each other. I'm sure you can find people in your area who are more than happy to help. And taking a little bit of time out for yourself, it might be an overnight stay somewhere, it will do you the fucking world of good. Because once again, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Okay. So I wish you well with that, sweetheart, and I'm praying that your mum's prognosis is not terminal. Okie dokie. Oh, here we go. Dear Auntie Nelly, I recently started a new job, congratulations, and I thought all was going well. But my boss called me in for a meeting that was really embarrassing. My boss told me that several people in the office had said that I smell. My boss told me that they'd not noticed that I smelt and wondered if this complaint was made on a day where I was particularly sweaty or something, but thought I should know so I could do whatever I felt I needed to. But I don't know what to do. I've never been told this before. I don't know the people at my new job well enough to ask them. Now I'm afraid that they're all talking about me behind my back. I'm not sleeping and dread going into work. When I asked what the smell was, my boss just said it was offensive, but wouldn't actually say if it was BO or something else. I have bought new deodorant and thrown out some old clothes that don't handle sweat as well as others. But I don't know if that's the problem. I just want to hide in the shower and cry. I don't want to face my co-workers anymore. I don't know what to do if my boss calls me in again. Please help. Oh, sweetheart. Have you any friends? Have you got any friends that you can actually, it's an embarrassing thing to say, but have you got any friends that you could actually say, listen, I got called into office last week, apparently I've got like a hygiene problem. Have you ever noticed it? You don't know if it's BO, bad breath. You don't know because your boss didn't say. And your boss said, I've never noticed it, but I'm having to tell you. And God bless you, you're looking at yourself and thinking, right, I'll get a really strong deodorant, I'll brush my teeth, I'll shower twice a day, and maybe that shirt that I was wearing has a wet patch. Maybe it does smell, but I haven't noticed it. And sometimes when we do smell, we don't know we smell. I mean, I have no sense of smell at all. It's not COVID. I lost my sense of smell when I had a stroke when I was 37. So I have no idea if I smell, you smell, he smells, if something's gone on in the fridge. No idea. So I rely on people around me to assist me with that. Ask a friend, ask a family member. All you can do is keep up with your personal hygiene. Make sure that you're wearing fresh clothes every single day. Doesn't matter if it's the same blouse day in, day out, but as long as it's going in the washing machine at night and it's dry for the morning, doesn't matter. Shower yourself, keep yourself fresh. Maybe take a little deodorant in your bag with you, and as the day's going on, just freshen up. I don't know what the smell is, but surely one of your friends would be able to say, well, actually, sometimes you are a bit sweaty. Is it a hormonal thing? Is it something that happens during the middle of the month? You know, some ladies do carry a little bit of scent with them. I don't know what this is, but it certainly shouldn't be making you feel like you don't want to go into work and you're not sleeping at night. Certainly not. I think it's absolutely fine that your boss has addressed this with you because complaints have been made. At the end of the day, I wouldn't take that personally. These things have to do through health, through human resources, policies and procedures. It's just not a nice thing to do, is it? But all you can do is keep perfume, deodorant in your bag, even take a toothbrush and some toothpaste and freshen your breath at dinner time, you know, and make sure that your clothes are freshly laundered. If you enjoy your job, then please, all you can do is sit there, carry on with your job, and I'm sure this will blow over. If you don't enjoy your job anyway, I think it might be time to look elsewhere, but still work on your personal hygiene. If your friend says to you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, you're absolutely fine, I've never noticed it, and there's still problems, then obviously see your general practitioner and tell them and say, listen, I was pulled in office, apparently I stink, I have no idea what it is, no idea what it is. It could be something that's hormonal or a thyroid or a medical issue, whatever it may be, but you can get to the bottom of it and sooner rather than later. And that's been today's Sunday service, the very first one of 2021. And what I would say as well is don't overdo it with toothpaste and fucking mints and fucking spraying yourself at your desk. Don't overdo it, okay? Do it discreetly. Because otherwise it'll just become obvious and you'll look weird. And sometimes when we do stink, it's washing that gets rid of the smell, not actually putting like... There's no worse, is there, that somebody's tried to disguise the smell of BO and then you've got BO and musk. Nothing worse. So there we go. So, yeah, it's been the first ever Sunday service of 2021. I'm excited to see you all very soon. As I said, I'm in hospital on Tuesday for my procedure. Depending on how that goes will depend on whether I am live on Wednesday night for Night Time with Nelly. So wish me well. Keep writing in the page for your Sunday services and your Night Time with Nellies. And you've given me so much love for my jumper today. Then go on Ruby and Daisy and have a look at the feather sleeve jumper. It's now down to £15, it was £35, and it's available in the sizes small or medium and large, and I'm wearing medium and large. So I'm going to feather away now. Please, please, please keep sending in your problems, and we'll please keep, obviously, reading them out together and sharing them together. So whatever you do with your Sunday, make sure it's a blessed one, and Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Keep smiling.